what IGNOU is doing in specific.
What are the hygienic condition requirements for a food processing establishment? Those requirements will be dealt in this session. So I request Dr. Nath to explain the hygienic requirements for a food processing establishments in detail, please.
The establishment which food is being handled, processed, manufactured, packed, stored and then distributed by the food business operator and the persons handling them should conform to the sanitary and hygienic requirement, food safety measures and other standards as laid down in the regulations. In addition to above, food business operator shall identify steps in the activities of food business which are critical in ensuring food safety and ensure that adequate safety procedures are identified, implemented, maintained and reviewed periodically. So some of the steps or criteria is to be considered while setting up a food processing establishment. First one is the location and surrounding of the premises where you want to start your business or processing activities, which we call a factory. The establishment shall be located away from environmentally polluted areas and shall free from filthy surroundings. That means the factory where food processing is to be established should be away from hazardous factories like poisonous chemicals or leathers which is injurious and repugnant to food product, and then area should be that are prone to flooding and infestation of pests, and then location shall not have difficulties in removal of solid and liquid waste, because food processing factory particularly fruits and vegetables or meat product, there is a lot of waste and that waste should be properly and adequately removed from the factory. So one should consider while setting up a food processing plant these factors for selecting a plant. If it is not an industrial area, then there may be a small food business processing unit in the residential area. So if it is in residential area, that processing unit should not be a direct communication from the residential belongings or residential establishment, and there should be an independent entry or approach for this. Then layout and design of the food processing industry should be considered properly. The machinery and equipment installed in the processing area should not occupy more than 50% of the total area of processing hall for easy movement of the workers and hygienic production. And then machinery and equipment should be arranged such a way they should follow a linear flow of production. There should not be cross flow. For example, a canning unit, there are operations like washing of raw material, cutting, peeling, and then blanching, exhausting, filling, and retorting, cooling. So all this operation, unit operation will be a serial order in a line flow. There should not be cross flow for proper movement of the workers. And then the machinery and equipment should not be designed such that it impart any contamination or corrosion. No iron or galvanized iron is allowed for preparation processing or storing of food products. Educate and the processing hall should be designed such a way that there is proper drainage and removal of effluent waste, and there may be proper slope in the processing hall. The walls of the processing hall should be properly laid with stone or tiles, or it should be properly whitewashed, and if possible at least at the height of 5 feet should be tiled or painted to make it impervious, that is washable, because some of the products like fruits and vegetables, there is a lot of dust while unit operation in pulping and cooking. So this material adhered to the wall. So at least 5 to 6 foot height of wall should be tiled or oil painted. And ceiling of the processing hall should be permanent nature, and this should be designed such a way that it will be smooth surface. There should not be accumulation of dust, dirt or condensation. Adequate number of windows, doors and ventilation should be provided in the processing hall, and all the doors, windows or any opening should be properly fly proofed with nylon or iron nets, and there should be automatic door closer to the door so that it is automatically closed and open, and there is no entry of flies and other pests, because food processing industry there is a lot of flies due to nature of the product like fruits, vegetables and other products. Then equipment should be designed such a way, already I mentioned that it should be corrosion free, and it should be maintained in order. It should be designed such a way, it should be easily cleaned, and machinery equipment shall be installed in such a manner that permits sanitation and maintenance also, and appropriate facilities for cleaning in place for certain industries like milk processing, like dairy industry and other industry. There is an automatic plant, so there should be CIP, which is called cleaning in place system, should be adopted, so that there is no chance of contamination inside the processing or pipelines. And then equipment and containers of waste byproducts and inedible containers should be marked and identified so that there is no chances of contamination. Chemicals and other dangerous substances used for cleaning shall be properly labeled so that they are properly identified, and they should be separately stored. And adequate wastewater disposal. I have already mentioned the foods processing industry is a lot of water intensive industry, particularly foods and vegetable or meat processing industry, so that effluent and waste water disposal system should be properly designed and appropriately maintained. All items like fittings, equipment shall be kept in good and clean condition, and whenever necessary there should be disinfected. Then some other facilities like water supply, because water is a very important input in the food processing industry, particularly fruits and vegetable and meat and fish processing industries. And the water is used not only for cleaning of the raw material like fruits and vegetable or meat, but water is used in many products, particularly fruits and vegetable in fruit juices and canned fruit as an ingredient. So water use should be potable, that means it should be fit for drinking purpose, and then potability should be as per Bureau of Indian standards, and the water use should be chemically and bacteriologically analyzed before start of the industry and once in a year for its potability. Even for cleaning of utensils and raw material like fruits and vegetable, drinking water should be used. And water used for ice and steam also. In ice is used for many foods, so for ice making also water should be of potable quality. I have already mentioned that there should be adequate drainage and disposal systems wherever necessary. The proper the waste material should be kept in the processing hall in a container, cover container, and there will be proper disposal systems. Wherever necessary, a water treatment, effluent water treatment (ETP) plant should be installed, and waste material like broken glass, plastic materials should be carefully handled and disposed of, so that there should not pose any hazards and contamination. Personal facilities and toilets. This is also important. The workers and other personnel working in the processing hall, both female and male, they should be provided with adequate toilet facilities. The toilet and wash basin also, they depends on the number of workers. Generally, for every 25 workers, one toilet and wash basin should be provided. For if it is there 100 workers, at least 4 toilet and wash basin facility should be there, and this toilet should be away from processing hall. There should be direct connection in the processing hall, and there should be an adequate facility for change room or refreshment room for the worker. The air and ventilation, I have already mentioned, there should be proper ventilation, and for fresh air, adequate number of exhaust fans should be provided in the processing hall, and also lighting facility, because for lighting is required for various type of preparation, processing, and also inspection purposes in the processing hall. So intensity of light should be depending upon the nature of work. Then food operation and controls, the procurement of raw material. This is very important for any food processing, because once you do not take care in procurement of proper raw material and source is not proper, then the products manufacture will not be of good quality. So one should be very careful while procuring raw material, and also maintaining adequate temperature and other transportation or storage container. For example, milk is procured from the rural level and cooperative level, and then it is transported to far long area in processing unit. So while this in procurement stage itself, there should be a proper facility for chilling of milk and cooling, bulk cooling center, and temperature is also important. Milk is a very highly perishable product, so this procurement level, this temperature should be maintained 4 to 5 degree centigrade. It should not exceed above 5 degree centigrade, and during transportation also it should maintain this temperature unless it is processed and pasteurized. So this is the procurement material is very important. And additive and ingredients wherever applicable shall conform to the regulation and standard. They should be this raw material should be properly tested as per their standard. Whether it is as per the standard, it should be tested. For example, even for fruits and vegetables, whether it contains higher limit of pesticide residues and other adulterated materials like adulterated colors, unpermissible colors, or any other additives. This should be tested properly before use. Storage of raw materials also important, because their contamination may take place in the storage place. So raw materials should be properly stored. This should be protected from pests and insects and rodents, and wherever necessary, cold storage facility should be provided for unprocessed or processed foods. As I already mentioned, for milk, there should be cold storage facility even after processing. And for product like meat product also, the meat is also a perishable item. So while transporting the meat from a slaughterhouse, because many units they don't have slaughterhouse, so one need to transport raw meat from slaughterhouse to processing unit. So there also proper temperature maintained. A refrigerated bin should be provided for transportation of the raw material like milk or raw meat. And the container used should be non-toxic, and they should not contaminate the product. This care should be taken. And in the storage, even for raw material, they should be properly stacked and reasonably above the ground, so that or also away from the wall, so that any type of damage is not occur to the raw material. Then precautions to be taken in processing and preparation of the products. There is a time and temperature control during processing, and also other precautions like using the working table. One should not work cart, peel, etc. for fruits and vegetables on the ground. There should be aluminum top table. Worker should work on the table only. Preparation, cutting, peeling, and other preparation should be done. And then I already mentioned that cold chain should be maintained for frozen products, and time and temperature control I have already mentioned during processing. Then food packaging. Packaging plays an important role in maintaining quality and increasing the shelf life of the product. So packaging material should be of non-toxic material, and it should meet the BIS standard of food grade quality. And packaging materials or gases where used shall be non-toxic and shall not pose threat to the safety and suitability of food under the specified condition of storage and use. So this care should be taken while selecting a packaging material for particular products. And food distribution and service. So adequate care also should be taken during the supply chain. I already mentioned for certain product like milk or meat product which are highly perishable, even, and the transportation should be suitably designed, maintaining requisite temperature, humidity, and atmosphere to protect the food during transportation. The high risk food such like fish, milk, poultry, eggs, etc. shall be transported exclusively and not to be transported along with other products to avoid contamination. Then food testing facilities. Every manufacturing unit should have a food testing facility in the plant level. If this testing facility is not available, at least minimum testing facility like testing of acidity or total soluble solids or total fat content in case of milk or SNF, this facility should be there in the factory. If it is not available for a small unit, then that product or raw material should be tested other accredited or recognized laboratory for ensure the quality standard as laid down on the regulations. And this testing should be done regularly. Proper pest control system, I already mentioned in the raw material or finished good storage. Pest control measures should be taken like provision of rodent baits or rodent traps or rat traps should be provided. All the openings for drainage or other things should be properly covered so that rat and rodent does not enter in the finished goods or raw material storage. And records of the pesticides, insecticides used along with dates and frequency of such testing also should be done, because treatment of chemicals and biological agents, whether it is within the permissible limits or not, should be done regularly. So this in the storage, this pest control measures should be taken adequately to avoid any chances of contamination. Sanitation and maintenance of establishment. Cleaning and maintenance, one should check out the plan, well program plan for regular cleaning. For example, during processing, interval should be maintained in that every 2 hours floor should be cleaned properly with disinfected with bleaching powder or chlorinated water to avoid any type of contamination. And from the processing hall, a regular interval of time, the waste material, solid waste should be removed and taken away, disposed of suitably from the factory premises. And preventive maintenance of equipment, machinery, building and other facilities shall be carried out regularly to prevent any hazards from entering into food while being processed or packed or served also. So these steps should be taken, and there should be a proper facility. Then next important is personal hygiene. The workers engaged in the processing hall or processing food processing should be free from any contagious or infectious diseases. They should be medically examined, and such medical examination records should be kept in the factory. Arrangement for proper hygienic measures, like the worker should be provided with neat and clean aprons, headwears, hand gloves, and footwears, and care should be taken that worker are properly they clean their hands, foot, and even cut their nail or hair regularly, because these also are the sorts of contaminant in the food product. And what the workers should be provided with wash basin, and already mentioned that with soap, so that whenever they go out for toilet, they should wash their hands before re-entering in the processing hall. So all these arrangement should be given, and supervisor or the management should see that workers engaged in the production hall should maintain all and appropriate step of food safety measures. There are some personal behaviors also during production. Management should see that the workers engaged in the production, there are some behaviors like sneezing or coughing. They should not do this in the processing hall, and bad habits like chewing of pan or tobacco, or sketching their beard, ears, etc. They should not do during preparation and other handling of foods, and they effectively washed whenever go out and enter in the processing hall. And food and also the workers should not wear some ornaments like rings, bangles, jewelry, watches, etc. When handling food material. So these are the precautions should be taken. And then visitors, one should see the visitors should normally should not be allowed to enter in the processing hall. Even if they allow, they should be given the proper protective clothing like aprons, headwears, hand gloves, and footwear also. So they should not enter in the processing hall with the shoes which they are already wearing and coming from outside. This will pose contamination to the product. So this should be taken care of while visitors are allowed in the processing hall. Then product information and awareness, because after processing and product is packed, so it should be properly labeled, and all the adequate information of labelling requirement should be displayed on the label, so that a consumer is well aware about the quantity and quality aspect of the product, ingredients, and how to handle the product, store, process, and other hygienic requirements, quality and safety measures. These should be displayed in the label. A routine supervision and checks also should be done to ensure that food hygiene and safety procedures are being carried out effectively in the processing hall, and in all stages of operation, like handling of raw material, processing, preparation, storage and distribution of food product till it reaches to the consumer hands.
Thank you, Dr. Nath, for covering the you had covered from very beginning about the location, then the what should be the location, then the equipment, then the source of water is a contamination, then food processing components, that is procurement, then processing, and then the waste disposal, then the particularly hygiene of handlers, the facilities for them, and how they should handle the food product into them, and then the packaging, labeling, and even the visitors. So all the aspects were very comprehensively covered. Now, maybe with your vast experience in the food processing industry, can you give some examples that when you go as on an inspection or checking for giving the lessons, what type of the problems are in normally the fruit vegetable industry you had observed that at times the hygienic conditions are not maintained? At what level, or can you give some examples?
Frankly speaking, I worked about 20-25 as an inspecting officer in the field level, and most of the time when our inspection is done without informing, surprise inspection for routine for to check up the compliance of the sanitary hygiene inspector, we find that when we enter the factory, we find that the doors are not closed properly, because I already mentioned that doors should be properly fly proof. So I used to find that doors are open when workers are working there, because inside this is normally hot, proper the exhaust fan. I mentioned that exhaust fan should be provided. It is not exhaust fan or blower and fans are there. The workers feel hot, so they keep the doors open. So when the doors open, then all hygienic measures is gone, because the fruits and vegetables are these flies are attracted by the fruits or vegetable, particularly fruits pulp. So lot of flies we used to find inside the processing hall. This is the major shortcoming in implementing the hygienic and safety measures we find in the processing hall, because fly creates biological hazards in the product. So you don't take care in this regard. This is the number one. The fly proofing either is not maintained or it is deliberately is not maintained. Some factory also there, if flies are doors flies are turned out, they don't repair it properly. Another thing is find is floor, in particular foods and vegetable processing unit. I mentioned that it is should be waste garbage should be or waste material should be frequently removed for the processing hall. But most of the time we find that the waste material are accumulated in the processing hall, or because the floors is not that way designed to effluent water should be drained out properly. So lot of water also accumulated in the processing hall. All these hygienic unhygienic practices are found in the processing hall. Then we found most of the cases the workers, even there is provision of aprons or head wears, so workers do not wear the aprons or head cap, so that they feel it is very hot, or any other reasons they don't wear. These are the shortcomings we normally found in the processing unit. And small unit we find that workers are working, the cutting peeling is done on the ground, on the floor itself. So this should not be done, because if you work in the floor is already contaminated, dirty, so more contamination to the food product. So these are the unhygienic practices we find used to find normally in the processing unit.
In the now with the like you with the MMPO in the milk product, there these things become more important because milk is more perishable. Can you share some examples which in the when implementation of MMPO, when you see these type of observations in giving the lessons to the some of the dairy unit?
Here I should I clear that for milk under MFPO, the license is not issued. It is only registration. Those are processing above 10,000 liter of milk per day, or 500 kg of milk product per day. They are under the purview of registration. Below that, it is not under the purview of registration under milk product order, and above that registration. So the registration also is the two tier. One is state registration, and another is central registration. So above 2 lakhs liter per a day milk processing, liquid milk processing is under central registration, or 10,000 metric ton of solid milk solid per annum, it is under central registration. So this is the registration process, license not given. And inspection also, as part of the MFPO, inspection is done by a third party, not by the registration authority. This is not by me. So inspection is done subsequently by authorized inspection agency. There are 2 inspection agencies. This is National Productivity Council and another is Export Inspection Council. So they conduct inspection annually on rotation. 1 year EIC and another year is National Productivity Council. So at the time of registration, inspection is not done. This is one of the drawback. In the new regulation, we are trying to cover this. Before issuing of registration or commissioning of plant, the plant should be inspected. Any inspection is done after that by these 2 agencies. They send the report to me, and we find these are of observation shortcoming, that the fly proofing is not maintained properly, or floor is not maintained, or there is no well documented personal hygiene maintained, or cleaning in process is also not. These are shortcomings sometimes we find, but directly I have not come across major shortcomings in the dairy unit, because dairy unit under central registration normally is a big unit like Mother Dairy or DMS plant or Paras milk or dynamic dairy. So these dairy units I have seen few dairy units. I have not found major shortcomings, except the regular cleaning of floor or cleaning of machinery equipments. So some shortcoming I found, but unlike fruits and vegetable, because fruits and vegetable units are very small, and cottage and home scale people are doing food and vegetable business.
This hygiene may be more important for the meat product order. For the
milk product, milk is more perishable compared to fruits and vegetable, for which the milk processing from procurement to distribution to processing, all stages the cold chain is to be maintained. As I already mentioned, the procurement stage, that bulk chilling center or bulk cooler should be provided, and if the milk is not transported to the processing unit within 4 hours, then the temperature of the milk should be maintained below 4 degrees centigrade. If it is transported to the processing hall, during transportation also the 4 to 5 degree temperature should be maintained, and if it is transported to processing unit, the milk may not be pasteurized or processed within 4 hours. So these temperatures should be maintained unless it is processed, and after processing also, after pasteurization, the temperature low temperature of below 8 degrees should be maintained. So this milk processing, mainly the temperature should be maintained for all stages of operation, and apart from other hygienic conditions like handling, maintaining all hygienic condition, personal hygiene, equipment, processing hall, and fly proofing, cleaning, washing, etc. is there. It is common.
It is common. So particularly for the milk, it is the temperature should be maintained.
Yes,
throughout the cold chain. What we said, that it should be below 4 degrees centigrade. It is there. Now,
and equipment also, because equipment is important. Stainless steel equipment should be maintained for procuring and carrying the milk.
And then there should be no milk residues.
Yes, basically should not be there. It should be properly clean.
And CIP cleaning should be done properly.
And another thing I have not seen, but I have some, with the farming stage milk, where milking is the farming, their hygienic conditions should be maintained. Of course, it is under the Department of Animal Husbandry in the state government, and centrally also Department of Animal Husbandry and Dairying, this aspect is looking after. It is not under MFPO. So in new regulations, the farming stage, it is not covered under Act. After farming, its milk is carried by a vendors. This stage is under the purview of new act. So some regulation or some safety guidelines should also be prepared for proper handling of milk, because it is very perishable, and milk is such a product that it is consumed by infant and children. So more care is required for milk product, and there is more instances of adulteration and malpractice in milk, because milk mostly at present is unorganized sector. I already mentioned below 10,000 liter of milk handling per day, or 500 metric ton of milk solid per annum. It is not covered under milk product model also. It is doing unorganized way. However, the PFA people are issuing license, but also I am sorry to say it is not properly implemented. That is why there is instance of adulteration, more adulteration in milk and milk products. So it should be properly regulated.
No, you are right that, but the government of India is taking many schemes they have started, particularly for clean milk production. They are encouraging that and they are giving the facilities also for establishing the chillers, and even the for the chilling the milk, and establishing the collection center or the chilling centers. They are giving the, particularly for production of clean milk, and similarly for instant chilling and those things the government is encouraging. So the food technologists or the processing people, they should try to maintain these hygienic condition. Similarly, the quality control people, they should, when they are going for the new certifications like 22,000 or 9,000 or whatever it is there, HACCP, so these GHP are good hygienic conditions you have to maintain. So you can facilitate the process by going through the well documented procedures which are there. This will improve the quality, and this will also increase the export of our products. And Dr. Nath, would you like to add something more about good hygienic practices?
One thing I want to add, because the maintenance of good hygienic practices depends not only to the people who are engaged in manufacturing activities or eat hygienic and food safety measures is to be taken care of in all stages, because some or other we all are consumers. Even those who are manufacturers, or those who are in food business operation, or in the selling business or distribution, or any stage, we all are consumers. So only think that the food product is consumed by us, all of us. So all of us have a responsibility in maintaining hygienic and food safety measures. It's a simple thing. Sometimes we forget, before taking of food, how to handle and how to take food, washing of hands. The simple thing, before taking food, one should wash, then, or handling of food, proper washing of hands, and also washing of raw material, proper washing of raw material, and all possible care if we take during preparation, processing and distribution. I think we can provide wholesome and safe food to the consumers.
Thank you, Dr. Nath, for coming and discussing the very two importance, and that too from the Food Safety Standard Authority of India. We thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.